This is Dino Dan from Cypress, California, and you're watching the Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to. Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Sean Bono! It's all about the Sean Bono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seed.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
Welcome into the second hour. Here we go. It's the Barbecue Central Show. We talk about live fire, barbecue, and grilling related items of only the highest importance level, depending on how they have transpired during the course of a news cycle. So it might have been earlier this week, which, was only Monday. Or last week or last month. If they are still generating heat, pardon the pun, we will continue to cover them until they go out. Still to come on the show this evening, the managing partner at the National Barbecue and Grilling Association, or NBBQA, Kell Phelps, will join us in about 13 minutes from now. After Cal, we will have a little bit of an open, but as I had mentioned in the first hour, because of travel arrangements very early tomorrow, there's a good chance we'll just call it in the evening as we get through the business and get some quick sleep before we rise very, very early tomorrow morning. But we'll see how that goes. We say good evening to all of those of you who are watching tonight through one of our video streaming platform partners. You can go to Facebook and Twitch/BBQ Central Show to watch. You can also take it in through YouTube/RD where there is not only a robust chat going on, but there is also the YouTube poll question of the week that we'll get to. And as I had mentioned just a few minutes ago, we are throwing caution to the wind and putting the show back up on Clubhouse, and there appears to be a grand total of 0 people in it. I understand there was a burgeoning audience that was taking it in through Clubhouse, and then this Clubdeck app that I was using in order to sound bright and professional started crashing like the Hindenburg time after time. So I said, you know what? That's it. I'm done with it. Not going to use it anymore, but I heard they had made some bug fixes and advances in the software, so I decided to give it another shot here. So I know there is sound going out, and there is nobody in the audience, so I will say this again, and I say it with peace and love.
Peace and love.
If you have a question for Kell Phelps that you would like to ask him in the next segment, jump on over to Clubhouse, and I will certainly try to mix you in where I can. Again, podcasting-wise, the first hour will be released shortly after the show is done here this evening. Now, the feed will take time to populate, so it probably won't be until I actually get into the waking up part of tomorrow morning, like around 3:30 a.m., where it actually hit the feed, and you can go ahead and check it out there. Second hour will be up on Thursday, and I'll tell you about what's going on Friday here in just 1 second. Let's go ahead and update the YouTube poll question of the week. I asked you, which is your favorite style of cooker? The bullet or WSM style, the UDS or ugly drum smoker, or the offset stick burner, or the pellet cooker? And my, how things have tightened up. However, remaining in the lead at 35% is your friend and my friend, the pellet cooker. However, coming in deadlocked in second place at 29% each, bullet style and stick burner, which means the ugly drum smoker style is just getting shit all over. 6%. How dare you? How dare you? Anyway, you are able to continue to take part in that chat. I forgot to ask Wes Wright which his favorite cooker is, but I won't forget to ask Cal when we lead off his segment here in just a few short moments. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this coming Friday is episode 270, if you can believe it, taking you back to March 6, 2018. Now, this is something I totally forgot about until I previewed this file a week ago. So I ask you this question. Does anyone remember the time when KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, was pushing their gravy? That's right, pushing their gravy. Not chicken, not biscuits, not that coleslaw, none of their food products, but solely the gravy, as in this stuff is so good you could drink it. I think they were actually telling people to just grab gravy and use it in various ways. One of the ways they were talking about back in March of 2018 was putting KFC gravy in a cocktail. No joke. Well, in successive weeks, there was a push for KFC gravy, and then the following week, there was a shortage of KFC gravy. Weird time back in 2018. And if you didn't hear this bit when it originally aired, then I would urge you to listen. And I say bit because there are some vocal effects used to drive a point home, and I'm not going to give it all away, so make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast feed in order to get it and listen to it. But I think you will appreciate the vocal effects that I was able to put on during this portion of the show. But I completely forgot that KFC was pushing their gravy as its own item, telling you to mix it into different cocktails, like liquor cocktails, not mocktails or over the top of mashed potatoes, but using it in various drinking and cooking situations. By the way, I don't know how much of a fan you are, but this might have been the beginnings of what ended up being the booze teen bit I did with former Centralite Jason King from Canada. I can't confirm it, but as I look back, I start to do a little research. It certainly makes sense that this would be the beginnings or where the idea of booze teen was born. And if you don't know what booze teen was, a number of years ago, probably right around this time, 5 years ago, Jason King said, you know what? I will take this challenge. I'll take gravy. I'll take vodka. And I will make, Canada, the big thing there is poutine. French fries, gravy, cheese curds, things like that. And he decided to take the gravy, add liquor, hence what KFC was urging people to do, make gravy cocktails. But he decided to make a poutine out of booze teen, and ultimately it looked delicious. He videoed it. We showed it on the show. It was great. So, hey, if that's what this is all about, then we did our part in 2018 to help. Not only did we move gravy on 1 week, we moved so much there was a shortage of gravy that following week. Jeff and Dreezy is weighing in on the instant chat. I worked at KFC for a few years in college. The gravy was legit. I made thousands of gallons. You did? I don't want to pull back the curtain on my fast food life. I worked at McDonald's first shift. So that was starting at 4 in the morning. I was doing this. I was working that shift. So it was 4 to noon, 8-hour shift. Then at 1, I went to a tool factory in Chagrin Falls, Ohio from 1 to 10. And then on the weekends, I was a bartender at Canterbury Golf Club, which is a highfalutin golf club out here in northeastern Ohio, trying to pay off my then engagement ring to my current wife. And that was not my first foray into fast food. My first foray was Subway. I was a sandwich artiste. And I worked the third shift when I was doing the Subway sandwich making. So anytime after 10 o'clock in the town that I was living at that point, wasn't nearly the metropolis that it is now, Bainbridge, Ohio. After 10 o'clock, things got dead. I was working until 2 o'clock in the morning, like with the bars closing. Nobody's in there, so what did I do? I said, well, screw the front of the house. I went into the back walk-in where there were 10-gallon buckets of dill pickle chips. I put on my coat, and I went into the walk-in, and I cracked the top of those 10-pound buckets, and I just started slopping back pickle chips like you wouldn't believe. Delicious. So where Jeff was making thousands of gallons of gravy, I was eating my weight every shift in dill pickle chips while I was being a sandwich artist. Take it from somebody who knows. I don't know how much has changed in the last 30 years. Judging from Subways, probably not much. Never, ever, ever, ever get the tuna. Don't ever do that. Never do it. Even when it's fresh, it's not fresh. And you can imagine that that's not turned over every night. Just never get it. I would recommend getting the fake seafood sub before you ever get the tuna. Just my 2 cents. I'm an expert. I worked there. I was a sandwich artist. I ate thousands of pounds of pickle chips. I know what I'm talking about. All right, Kell Phelps is ready to rock here. Before we get to him, I will talk to you about Primo cookers. What do we love about ceramic grills? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We also love that you can get rip-roaring hot for high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday lineup of ceramic cookers? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking. That's right, two-zone cooking is very important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker is not very realistic. Why? Because it's round. And a Primo grill in the game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute a two-zone setup that you desire. It also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. Really, when you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to configure the Primo cooker, so you're only limited by your culinary imagination. We all know that the lift hinge has been revamped. We all know that the top and bottom air dampers have been revamped. We love the new Primo Grill rotisserie accessory that you can get. They've also have that Primo Grill pizza accessory, half pans, drip pans, the whole deal. If you love accessories for your cooker, Primo is now delivering on that end as well. Here's the bottom line. Best ceramics in the biz, yes. Patented technology, you betcha. True two-zone cooking capabilities, I just talked about it. Go to PrimoGrill.com, find a dealer near you, and then see all the different size ovals that they have, and then pick the one that's best for you. Get all those accessories, because your dealer should have them. And then you're ready to rock and roll. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, but go to PrimoGrill.com and get your Primo right now. You know you want to do it. Hug them, feel them, and then buy the one that feels best to you. We're back with Kell Phelps right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 3 sizes. A host of accessories to complete your Pit Barrel cooking experience. Doesn't matter if you're just a beginner or a savvy vet. Definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the Barbecue Central Show sent you. My guest in the second hour, the managing partner of the industry's trade organization known as the NBBQA this past week and weekend, was the 2023 annual conference that took place in Orlando, Florida, or thereabouts. Here to recap the week is none other than our pal, Kell Phelps. All right, Cal, before we get to the recap, let me get to the YouTube poll question of the week because I forgot to ask Wes Wright. By the way, percentages are changing as we speak. Races are tightening, so this vote could put you over the edge. Cal, what is your favorite type of cooker? Bullet style, ugly drum smoker, offset stick burner, or pellet cooker?
Man, it's got to be the drum smoker, man.
Really?
Yeah, man. It's as versatile as the Weber kettle grill, man. You know, it's just a little bigger.
Kell, you are in the vast minority at 11%, currently leading as pellet cookers at 33%, and then continually locked in dead heat at 28% is bullet style and offset, and then UDS is picking up the bottom slack at 11%. But maybe you'll inspire some of the folks that are watching that haven't voted yet, and we'll see how it ends as the show comes to a close here this evening. Anyway, Kell, last time you were on, and I appreciate you stopping by again, people were starting to make the migration into the Celebration area of Orlando, Florida. This would be last week, and I know you're only a few days away from it. But let's take the 30,000-foot view here just to start off with. How do you think the event came off?
Man, I got to tell you, feedback we're getting right now is all positive. We'll do our due diligence and send out the surveys and all that good stuff. So get a lot more details there. And man, hey, listen, let me just go ahead and apologize because I am the internet down here sucks today. And so I'm probably going to skip and hop and flop all over the place before we get done.
So far, so good.
All right, cool.
So when you send out the surveys, let me rephrase this question. To your face, everybody's just going to tell you they love you, but not until the survey comes where perhaps it's done under anonymity, they would really unload both barrels?
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't think anybody's going to unload both barrels. I think we got kind of lucky on that deal. But I think you're going to get a more honest opinion. Now, of course, on social media, those feedback comments are very, very, very real too, and they've all been so positive so far. Yep. So unless there's one stuck in the back, maybe that's hiding that we hadn't seen or anything like that, but I think overall, man, it was a positive experience. And hey, listen, I know we're not perfect, so it definitely was not a perfect event, but I think we laid a pretty good foundation on something to build on for sure moving forward.
I think I was there in person in Fort Worth. I believe it was 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So we're getting on 5 years now. That was the first time they had invited podcasters down. We had our own little room there in the stockyard, whatever the hell it was called. And I was asking people, not during the tapings, of course, during the live shows, of course, because I'm sure nobody would have answered positively, but as the mics were ducked, and I would say, hey, what do you think about the NBBQA? There was a lot of, for lack of a better term, shit talking going on about the event and who was putting it on, and if there was really any benefit that people were really getting from it, at least from folks that were a little high profile. And now 5 years later, the good thing is this. I'm trolling social media all the time across Live Fire, just like you are, especially during last week when you have your event going off. I didn't see one person post anything negative in public, but better than that, I didn't have anybody come to me through direct message or through email and say, same old shit show or completely not worth it. None of that happened. So at worst, we're certainly raising the bar as far as what NBBQA is being viewed at now. And it has to be because of the direction that you've taken it away from. It's not volunteers and people having to figure out how they're going to make time to help this organization and, heaven forbid, try and take advantage of the situation or the organization as well. You've legitimized it, I guess, in a certain sense, because you have the appreciation of the history of it, but you also want to see it continue to grow. So were there any huge snags during the course of the week that you didn't anticipate that you had to work through?
Not really, man. I mean, we had a speaker call me on Wednesday who doing a social media class or whatever, and had an accident with his daughter, so couldn't make it Friday morning. So we were blessed enough to have some superstars already
Sure.
kind of in our hip pocket, and we threw them in there, and those guys hit a home run. So, I don't know that we've ever not done one of those events or been a part of and not had some kind of hiccup or curveball thrown at us. But yeah, no, it was pretty smooth, man. I mean, everything went really well. The hotel bent over backwards for us. I mean, the food was phenomenal, which is, sometimes we've gotten dry chicken trying to save $1. You know how that goes. So we actually had lamb chops on Thursday night, and chef got a standing ovation on that deal.
Wow.
So yeah, it all went very, very, very well. But I got to contribute that to all the contributors, the helpers. All we did was just kind of put the puzzle out. And this thing it's the way I do it. It's almost like a big puzzle. You can see what the puzzle's supposed to look like on the outside of the box, right? And then you open it up, and there's pieces all over the place. Well, then you start herding everybody around, and everybody can the better that everybody can see the outside of the box, the easier everything will go, because they can see what we see in the end. And I think that's exactly what happened last week. It was a great experience.
Kell Phelps joining us here on the show, the managing partner over at the NBBQA, NBBQA.org. If you're not a member over there right now, of course, Kell and I are asking that you certainly give it consideration, and why the hell not join? Go ahead and do that. Help us both out here. So, attendance-wise, this is something that you're probably looking at. Maybe there was an expectation of seeing X amount of attendees through the course of the week, or a cumulative number depending on what the weekend might have looked like, because there were some other things going on that you didn't have to go to the whole event during the week. You could just show up for the weekend for those master classes. So did it meet expectation as far as attendance was concerned?
I think we paid the bills, and that's, anytime you do one of those things, that's a scary thing. I mean, you start 6 months ahead and you put your name on a $250,000 contract with a hotel, where you got X number of rooms blocked, food and beverage minimum, and you got to pay these guys to come teach some of these different tent companies. You got, it's just a huge. I'm not going to call it a gamble. It's just a
calculated
it's just
risk.
The way that thing's, yeah, maybe, yeah. And it could be called worse. I mean, I've seen it worse, but yeah, I mean, we'd love to have had another 100 people there, without a doubt. But to say that we're disappointed or we didn't pay the bills, or we're going in the hole or something like that. We've yet to get the final hotel bill, but we had already paid enough deposit that we were ahead in that deal. So if any unforeseen circumstances come in that we may not see, but yeah, I'm satisfied with it. And like I say, I think we laid a pretty good foundation to build upon from there moving forward.
I always thought that maybe an event like this was an organization's big moneymaker over the course of the year. I don't know why I would think that, but when I was there in person, there seemed to be a lot of people there, a lot of big name people there, and to me that just signified people were just pumping money into it, and that was a huge money booster for NBBQA to help them through the course of the year. But it sounds like you don't do this right, and you could really eat a shit sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, and back in the day, that was the way the association was set up. You had a yearly conference that basically had to make enough profit to keep it afloat and run it for the next year, because we didn't do a lot of other events in between. So that's that will change. That's one of our things we can't do is go back to the once a year deal. Matter of fact, got calls set tomorrow. I'll be on the road headed to Houston. As soon as we finish up and upload to the printer the March issue of the Barbecue News magazine, and then we'll start having calls starting about 2:00 till about 6:00 tomorrow night on next event happening. But it will not be next year before we have another event.
How many events would you like to see? Ideally, if you're looking down the road 2 to 5 years from now, you want to have some every quarter, you want to have some every month. What do you think? And then have like a culminating, yearly annual conference to be the big crescendo?
Possibly. I'd love to work to at least 4 events. Take the country, divide it up, and hit all 4 segments. We've got some ideas, and we've seen some. I'm not going to say we're going to piggyback off of some ideas on some other events that we've seen where the weather kind of. It doesn't really matter what the weather is. We can still hold events. But I would love to divide the country up and have one in all, 4 places across the country every year. I think that would be pretty cool. When we had talked about doing like mini conferences, and maybe we divide up and do 4, and then just let one be the major yearly conference there.
Attendance wise, you said you were pretty happy with the turnout, but when we look at growing the event, what do you think needs to be done in order to, get that extra 100 people or 200 people next year and the year after that?
It's real simple for us. Everybody who commented positively said it was a great event. We just want those guys to tell one person and bring one person, or be responsible for bringing one person with them next year. If you do that, you double up. Then the next event, you double up. The next event, you double up. But that growth, has to go with membership. And then as membership grows, then sponsorship will grow, and then vendors will grow. And as some of the new events that we're talking about doing, one of the conversations having tomorrow will be about retailers. That's one thing NBBQA says as we're a trade organization, but we have sucked at having retail folks involved with it. So moving forward.
What does that mean, retail folks? Who are you talking about specifically?
So independent store owners, hardware store owners, those guys who are peddling manufactured goods on a daily basis. When you look at, these rub and sauce guys, the guys that are making the pits, different grills, accessories, or whatever, if they come to NBBQA, we can, help them with their marketing ideas and, help them with some business plans or whatever from past experiences, deals or whatever. But to really help them push their product out to the end user, we don't have an avenue for that. We've never really had an avenue for that, but that's hopefully one of the new roads we'll pave as we get ready to keep moving forward.
Kell Phelps joining us here on the show, managing partner over at the NBBQA. NBBQA.org is the website. Part of this annual conference every year is the Awards of Excellence, and it goes through a vast and sweeping section of the live fire industry: sauces, rubs, media, book writing, and all this. Who are the big winners or ones that stood out to you?
Oh man, so we just put those up last night, and they are they're on NBBQA.org. If you look at latest news there, you'll find the top 5 listed there. Had a lot of new folks, a lot of new faces, first time entries. King Louis rubs and flavor makers. Those guys, I think they walked like 10 times or something, and he he actually posed a question to me. Had anybody else ever walked 10 times or whatever? So I'm gonna have to go back and dig down into the history books and check that out. I know John Olson, Smoky John Olson, back in the day, man. Johnny O, man, he walked a bunch with that homemade sauce he had. He must have cost him $20 a bottle to make it, but I know he walked a bunch back in the day at that AOE Awards. But this is just great to see, new faces. Man, and I can't tell you how cool that is when you see people who have put their so much heart, time, effort, and investment, their money into bringing those products to market, and to see them get recognition in front of their peers. That's pretty cool. And that's what NBBQA is all about, helping those guys succeed and maybe even get to hang a blue ribbon on that bottle, sell a few more products for them in the end.
I'm on the NBBQA.org website going through the list of winners, and I'm looking specifically, of course, for the barbecue audio series and or podcast. You would think it would be this show, but no. We say congratulations to Grab 'em in the Brisket, first place audio series, which I think has unseated, what the hell is his name? The guy down in Australia, Smoking Hot Confessions. He had a number of years. Yeah, Ben Arnott. He had a number of years in a row of winning best podcast, best barbecue-related podcast. So Grab 'em in the Brisket is there. It's only showing a first-place winner, so I don't know if Grab 'em in the Brisket was actually the only entrant, and because you're the only entrant, you win. But hey, that's the kind of contest I want to enter. If it's just me and nobody else, I'm guaranteed victory, and that's all that I want. So congratulations to those guys for unseating the champion, Ben Arnott.
Those guys are from Texas. They're pretty badass, so I don't know. Maybe they scared everybody in. I don't know.
There's no doubt. Plus, they have a tremendous TikTok following as well, so they are multifaceted on multi-platform. And again, we congratulate them for having the best barbecue podcast. Cal, anything else you would like to mention on this year's event, or anything coming up that you would like to promote and start getting hype about?
Oh, man. I tell you that the coolest thing is, I just got done 20 minutes ago writing my article. So I always take up a little space in the magazine and write about, stuff from my heart every month. And so NBBQA, the theme this year was hashtag better together. It's talking about, we do things better together. Well, it's kind of real huge coincidence how this whole deal went down. Wednesday night, we had a brand new event to the conference that started the event off. It was called the Firefight, and it was a small little welcome reception contest type deal, almost like a culinary fight club deal. But we had a husband and wife who, no stranger to the culinary world, Miracle in the Kitchen. Those guys didn't add any team members to their little deal. Cooked a appetizer, main dish, and a dessert, and actually wound up cooking a dessert for their deal was to feed 300 samples on dessert.
Oh.
And they walked away as the new Firefight champions to that deal. And then when you talk about togetherness, better together, the very last thing we did was close out the SCA event on Saturday. And we made a little SCA history, man. We had a husband and wife team both have perfect scores in the same contest, and they both tied for first place. So that was Tim and Sandy Brown.
Some of the most elite steak cookers out there in the country. I think Sandy's, maybe they're both overall points winners in different years, but I know Sandy was maybe 2 years ago.
Absolutely, and Tim's reigning points champion. But yeah, those guys are it's unreal, some of the talent that was down there, when you look at the world champions. But that, you had one partnership started off and one partnership ended it. And it just showed how better together we all get better. And, NBBQA, as we go and grow, that's what we want to do, man. We want to work together to help anybody, regardless of what aspect of the barbecue world they want to get in. We just want to help them that way. I tell people all the time, I said, the only dumb question is the one you don't ask.
Right.
That's just the way we kind of see it. So,
Kell Phelps is the managing partner over at NBBQA and the website NBBQA.org. Go ahead and take a look and then sign up. And if you can't make it to in-person events, they're recording. So you have access to video archives, so you can make sure you're taking advantage of all the great information that's being disseminated at these things, and all brought to you by Kell Phelps and the team over there at NBBQA. Cal, appreciate the breakdown, and we will look for you again sooner than later.
Hey, man, you got it. And, I will tell you this. Everything we did as far as session-wise was videotaped, and hopefully in the next 30 days or so, we'll have all that video footage edited down, and we'll have all that stuff up on the website. And I don't know if we'll put it down for a free peek or not, because they sure didn't. It wasn't free to have it all videotaped. Yeah. But if you want an idea about what NBBQA is about, just keep watching the next 30, 45 days or so. There'll be enough peeks around, enough testimonials, and to see if that's something where we can help you in your barbecue journey for sure.
Thanks, Cal. Appreciate it.
Greg, man, thanks a bunch as always, man. And keep it smoking, brother.
We will. Give me a Kell yeah.
Give me a hell yeah.
That's right. So we urge you to consider a membership over at NBBQA.org. That's the website. And as Cal said, if you're on the fence, you want to get some insider looks, some sneak peeks, keep following them. 30 to 45 days from now, you might be seeing some edited video of what's actually going on in these conferences. And that's what you want to see. Maybe that puts you over the edge. Before we close it out here this evening, I'll talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grill, some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. Indeed, 37% of you are saying that pellet cookers are your favorite cooker to use, and Green Mountain Grill should be at the top of that list. 2 different lines to choose from, a choice line and a prime line. If you want to save a couple bucks, you don't need Wi-Fi or the associated app connectivity, being able to raise lower temperatures, things like this, then the choice line is the one you're going to want to take a look at. If you don't care about saving a few bucks and you want technology and 2 internal meat probes and look-in windows on the main cooking chamber and pellet hopper, and the list goes on, then you want to look at the prime line. Only sold through dealers, so find a dealer near you at greenmountaingrills.com, then visit the dealer and take a look at all the different models that they have to choose from. Get educated by the dealer, who has been educated by the Green Mountain Grill expert. And now you pick the one that's best for you. You get it home, you're educated, you can use it and have success right off the bat. That's the way Jason Baker and the gang wanted over at Green Mountain Grills. No buyer's remorse, no, I don't know how to use this. Now you're bringing it back. Now you're talking shit about somebody. No, that's all eliminated. This is the way they do it, pulling through the dealers. Again, choice line and prime line, greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. And we'll be back right after this. Stick around.
Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And we thank Kell Phelps for joining us last segment, breaking down the conference from last week that started last Wednesday and ran through Saturday. So, again, as I had mentioned, he's only a couple days away from it and giving us the insider's look at being freshly off of it and then what they might be able to do to continue to attract new members. And that's going to be the hardest and easiest part of this whole thing. If you have people that attended the event and they really liked it, and as Kell said, the easiest thing to do is to have one of those people that liked it tell somebody that's not a current member to become a member and then give their testimonial. Referral business is the easiest business to close in sales. Referral business and testimonials are the easiest way to convince somebody to do something. And that would hold true for membership in NBBQA. So if you've thought about it or you didn't even know that this is an organization that existed, go to the website, nbbqa.org, and check it out. You can reach Kell many different ways. He's very accessible, happy to answer all your questions. He's not some unapproachable guy that I just have access to because I've done the show for 15 years. He is very accessible, very down to earth. What you just saw in the interview is the same guy you would get in person or on the phone or through some type of a Zoom conference, however it works. Johnny Maggs is asking a question in the instant chat. Is Kell going to be set up in a certain spot in Houston? I didn't see that until we were already disconnected. I can tell you this. He is going to Houston, and he's part of a organization that's going to be cooking a lot of hogs, from what I understood. I don't know if it's like Hogs with the Cause or something about cancer, this or that, or whatever, but I think if you drop him a note, Johnny, that he'll be able to tell you where he's going to be at. But it didn't sound like he was anchoring in one specific spot. He had a number of different agenda items that he was going to be going through as we were sound checking last night. We were talking about that as well. So he's going to Houston tomorrow. He's got business calls that are associated with NBBQA, and then he's got some other stuff going as well. So if you're going to be in Houston at the Houston Livestock and Rodeo, why not try and track Kell down and bend his ear a little bit? Did you know that week 31 is in the books and we are still on the plateau, but we're getting there? That's right. I'm talking about David Leans and the Do Wellness program, davidleans.com/BBQ to sign up. That's davidleans.com/BBQ to sign up. And now, this week, week 32 is going to be the week that we've not had. It's unlike any other week that we've had in the last 32 weeks. I'm going to be out of town. I'm not going to be in my element. I'm not bringing any extra workout clothes, or I'm traveling as tight as I can. So, I'll be circling up with David tomorrow, laying out what my agenda is, what I'm going to have access to. We're going to come up with a game plan to keep me on track as much as I can. Here's what I'm feeling like. Since I'm not going to be able to hit the gym in the way that I would want to, I don't know what access to the food I'm going to be having. I'm not concerned with putting on weight. In fact, it's the opposite. I'm scared that I will opt to not eat, because I'm a guy that could not eat for 16 hours if I wanted to. Sometimes I just forget. I'm afraid I might start to lose weight, and I don't want that. I'm right around 172, 173. So we want to keep that trend moving up. Remember, the goal is 185 within the year. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. But this is the kind of week that can set you back. So we'll refocus. We'll talk about mindset. We'll talk about diet. And then we'll put the plan together for me to execute over the next handful of days. If I have to stay out there that long, who knows? We'll see what happens Thursday, Friday when we get to where we're going. In the meantime, you can do the same thing. davidleans.com/BBQ. That's davidleans.com/BBQ. Tell them you heard him on this show. You want the Barbecue Central show deal. You want a program, and then you can get together with David. He'll put a program together, meeting you where you're currently at, and then you work towards the goals that you are hoping for. And again, he doesn't want a client forever. He wants to get you on the right track, make sure that you're confident, and then he will release you back into the wild. If you got to come back to him, you can do that. But this isn't like just do it forever kind of thing. He wants to help you be become a better person lifestyle-wise as it relates to eating and health and all that good stuff. DavidLeans.com/BBQ. That's DavidLeans.com/BBQ. Back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. Be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
And we are back. We thank Kell Phelps for joining us in the first interview segment of the second hour, 10:14 or 14 past. NBBQA.org is the website. And that's going to do it for us here this evening. As I said, there was a chance we might cut it a little bit short here this evening. I'll check Clubhouse one more time, and nothing's happening there, so we can just close that room out altogether so I don't forget like I normally do. And then we can start to make our outro available all the way back in the first hour. Mike Lang, Another Pint Please, and fan of Weber products, contractor for Weber, made some training videos on the new griddle, which he's a fan of. So anotherpintplease.com is his website, and you can follow him over on Instagram at the same handle. And then after Mike, it was Wes Wright from cookoutnews.com. We broke the Weber griddle down a little bit further and a little bit more of a uncolored light, getting some real review from him. We also talked about how Traeger is going to be releasing their Flat Rock griddle cooker tomorrow on the 22nd. So if you're listening to this today, we also talked about how it's like $900 griddle. Holy moly. We'll see what it's all about. We'll break it down next week, of course. And we have some great guests. Of course, the fourth Tuesday, we'll bring a visit from Derek Riches. We'll also talk to the embedded correspondents. And if I'm not mistaken, Rodney Scott makes his reemergence on the show to end February. So looking forward to that. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
Hi, this is Austin Parsons, Pitmaster with Smoky Mountain Q in Nashville, Tennessee, and you are listening to the Barbecue Central Show.